Hey guys, it's Flowergothic, and welcome to my new series, New Age Blues. Now, given my appearance, people tend to think I'm into New Age shit, like crystal healing and horoscopes and homeopathy. Hell, some of y'all think that picture frame seen in some of my videos has tarot cards in it. For the record, it doesn't. Those are miniature posters from late 20th century New Orleans Mardi Gras celebrations.
Wow! Look at all the Mardi Gras posters! Wow!
Here's the thing. I'm not a believer in New Age practices. I'm a logical person. I prefer scientifically backed medicines and therapies over, say, salt lamps and acupuncture. But reading about all these New Age and New Age adjacent trends and what causes people to be drawn to them, as well as the people who peddle them and the dangers of the practices themselves, that all fascinates me. So, in New Age Blues, I, your beautiful, enchanting goth mother, will dissect the people and practices that can be considered New Age, and the ramifications of them. I'm going to start off with a relatively new practice that has caught my attention. Reality shifting. Enjoy! Reality shifting, in its most basic form, is the ability to transfer your consciousness to whichever reality you desire, whether it be becoming a celebrity or going to Hogwarts to date Draco Malfoy. The latter of which has a lot of shifting fans, like an unhealthy amount of shifting fans. There's a little more nuance to it, but luckily, there are a lot of first-hand resources on TikTok, Wattpad, and a lesser-known Gen Z social media app called Amiibo. Fuck! Amino! Wattpad even has this handy-dandy mega guide I've been using for research.
Shifting is the process of consciously moving from one reality to another by tapping into a frequency, the feeling, of the desired reality you want to go to. CR is for current reality, DR is for desired reality. Shifting has been proven possible by the CIA or FBI. I'm pretty sure it's the CIA. You can look however you want, be whoever you want, and be with anyone you want. You can shift to whichever alternate reality you want. I recommend choosing a reality that's already written about, a fictional reality. For example, you can shift to the Harry Potter or Avatar: The Last Airbender realities. It's totally safe. There's a ton of different methods of shifting. You aren't permanently stuck in your desired reality. You can leave whenever you choose. When you shift, your body will still physically be in your current reality. It's called your clone. Your consciousness/soul is in your desired reality, leaving your body behind. Your clone isn't an emotionless robot. It's super similar to you. You script out your desired reality, like writing yourself in a fan fiction. It definitely doesn't have to be as detailed, though. Your script can be digital, but there's a method where you need a physical copy. Shifting takes practice. Don't expect it to happen the first few times.
This person described reality shifting way better than I can, and I've been researching this for almost a year. Also, yes, allegedly, the CIA proved the existence of reality shifting. We'll go over that later. For now, though, let's walk through what you would need to do in order to shift realities, step by step. Let's say, for the sake of argument, your desired reality is to date and marry, Prince Isaac of Sweden from Swedish-American Royal Love Story. It's back, fuckers! You can't escape that fanfiction! It ruined me, and now it'll ruin you! So, on paper, or your phone, you write out your script. The more detailed it is, the better. Let's see. Oh, by the way, I'll be using the script template from that aforementioned Wattpad mega guide, in case you were wondering. Name, Lucille and Kingston. Age, 18. Birthday, 28 October 1991. Yes, I use European dating. Sue me, bitches. Gender pronouns, female, she, her pronouns, obviously. Positive personality traits. Intelligent, headstrong, opinionated, unafraid to speak her mind. Negative personality traits. Republican, thinks Marco Rubio is a good politician and person. Easily angered. Did I mention Republican? In this template, by the way, it says to not feel obligated to add any negative traits. Take from that what you will. Skills. English and French fluency, because of course. Conversational in Spanish. Athletic enough to be a Tennessee majorette. High IQ and charisma, because of fucking course. Of fucking course! Can you feel pain? Well, she got a tear that one time, so yes. Skipping the death desensitivity part because holy fuck, what the actual fuck? Sexuality, straight, hobbies, dancing, watching sports, and dreaming of being the first woman president. Likes, Marco Rubio, obviously. Hanging out with friends. Similar things as the author of this fanfic. I'm not going to go into too many details because I do not want to reveal her identity. I'm not that evil. Dislikes. The Florida Gators. Because of course, that bitch Melissa. Paparazzi. Okay, I'm skipping down to appearance to speedrun this shit. Hair. Long, straight, light brown. Usual hairstyle? I don't fucking know. Eye color shape, blue and white, I think. Lips? I do not fucking know. Nose? I don't fucking know. Skin type? Clear. Skipping some more. Height? 5'1" weight 110 pounds, I think. Teeth, straight. Oh God, there's more. I'm gonna read this part verbatim so y'all don't think I'm making this shit up.
I have the Life app in my personal diary that only I may access. It cannot be deleted or destroyed. It lets me see what time and day it is in my current reality. It lets me check on my clone and edit my script from my desired reality. I'm safe in my desired reality. Every time I leave my desired reality, time freezes. When I re-enter my desired reality, time starts again.
Fuck it, I'm not doing any more of this. This shit's long. Anyway, congratulations. We just made a script. There's no guarantee you'll shift on the first try, though. Don't worry, there might be reasons why you're unconsciously hesitant to shift.
So we all know the general idea of shifting. You only need belief and intention, right? One thing that all those people forget to tell you is that you'll have a much more difficult path before you shift. It's not as easy as blinking at first, trust me. You're afraid of the new concept you're learning, trying to grasp onto every piece of information you can get your hands on. You're afraid of leaving everything behind. You're afraid of clones before you really get to know them. It's okay. We've all been there. You're afraid of getting hurt. You're afraid of who you will meet. You're afraid you're doing something wrong. You're afraid of so much, but mostly you're afraid of letting go of this reality at least.
And you know what? It's okay. It's okay to be afraid. We've all been afraid. It's normal. But I'm here to tell you that we've all been there. The beginning stage of trial and error and many, many confused breakdowns. And it's okay. It's okay that you're afraid. Because we all were. You'll work through it. That fear motivates you. And if it doesn't, then it should. It's okay.
Now, how does one shift to their desired reality? There are dozens, if not hundreds, of methods you can use, but here are the ones I've stumbled upon the most often. The Raven method. Clear your space of any distractions and make sure you're very tired. Put some reassuring subliminals on and lay on your back in a starfish position on your bed. Don't move afterwards and count to 100, saying, I have shifted between each number. Try to visualize your desired reality, then try to sleep while affirming you're shifting to yourself. The Wonderland method. Meditate on your back and visualize someone from your desired reality running past you, then chase them down the rabbit hole. Yeah, Alice in Wonderland style. It's pretty self-explanatory. Fucking hell, this show. The pillow method. Write down your script and put it under your pillow. Visualize your reality as you drift off to sleep, reassuring yourself you'll be in your desired reality when you wake up. The Julia method. The Julia method, because I can't have any happiness in my life. Meditate to theta waves for 5 or so minutes. Repeat the affirmation, I am, in your head until you feel like you're shifting. Then count to 100 and use affirmations based on your desired reality until you feel disconnected from your body. Fucking hell! Please, for the love of God, delete that method from my existence! Many more methods, as well as shifting experiences, are peddled all over the internet. But a lot of people in the community are really young. Not my age young, but high school and early college young. Which is concerning to say the least. I think the simplest answer to why so many young people are drawn to reality shifting is that young people just have more time to do shit like that. But, as you've seen, there's little that is simple in this community. Psychotherapist Laura Rosser Kreiselmeyer has a theory I kind of agree with, stating,
There's such an existential crisis that younger generations are dealing with, not knowing if our planet is going to be around to sustain human life and future generations. Then the COVID pandemic has interrupted childhood, youth, young adult rites of passage as well as normal life. So, it isn't surprising that people are trying to figure out how to cope or maybe induce for themselves a reality that's more pleasant.
And I'll admit it, we live in a terrible timeline. Our politicians are corrupt, our world is dying, and I can't consume a Little Caesars hot and ready pizza without my lactose intolerance fucking my insides up. I wanted to get Little Caesars for this scene, but I got Whole Foods instead, so. I watched the Odd Ones Out's video on reality shifting too, and that led me to a little app known as Amiibo. Fuck! Amino. So, I did a little in-the-field research.
What is Amiibo? Fuck Amino! Imagine Discord, but geared towards teenagers instead of gamers. And as a result, there are a lot of reality shifting communities on the site, populated by people too young for me to reasonably hang out with without seeming creepy.
I registered on Amino under a false identity and pretended to be an 18-year-old girl who is super interested in reality shifting. And here's what I found.
A decent amount of the people I saw had some degree of body insecurity. I won't give specific examples because that's a very personal battle that I relate to, but sometimes the conversation would dive into things like eating disorders and stretch marks and even trying to match their DR selves in appearance. A lot of the people were young, like very young, high school young. This reads into my theory that kids have more time to try this shit than adults. But some of these people just seemed naive? Not stupid, mind you, but just... Let me give you an example.
So, basically, surprise, surprise, it turns out that my obsession with the Big Apple was just another hyperfixation. It doesn't feel that great knowing all of that is practically out the window now, because I literally have no interest in NYC anymore. I was reading my old posts, and it made me sad at how much I loved New York City. But that's besides the point. So, this week, I reread The Outsiders. I found it in my closet when I was moving, and I decided to reread it. And, oh my gosh, if you have not read that book or seen the movie, what are you doing with your life? It is absolutely life-changing, and I don't know why I went so long without reading it. I had to read it for school last year. Ever since then, it's been collecting dust. So, you can guess what happens next. I'm shifting there. Bye-bye, New York City. Hello, Tulsa.
The user further justifies their desire to shift to The Outsiders later on.
Where do I begin? Imagine being a greaser, going to the drive-in with Dolly and Two-Bit, hanging out with Ponyboy and Johnny. Wow! I recommend this one so much! Not to mention they're all hot, especially Dolly.
For those of you who don't know, The Outsiders is a rather dark book about the psychological and physical consequences of socioeconomic differences between working class and upper class people in 1965 Tulsa, Oklahoma. Like, 3 people are killed in this book. The main character suffers from trauma. It's fucking depressing, and you want to shift there? Doesn't that negate the whole point of the fucking book? Hell, speaking of darkness, dystopian fiction is another popular destination for reality shifters. For some reason.
Another Wattpad shifting account I found wanted to shift to all these dystopian futures, Walking Dead, Last of Us, and so on. Now, wait, you ask, wouldn't she die in her desired reality, or at least face some sort of pain, whether physical or emotional? Don't worry, she's got that covered in her script. I am immune to spiritual, mental, and cyber harm at all times. I am immune to being harassed or traumatized in my DR. I am immune to death, losing limbs, and getting badly injured in general. My DR is free from global warming, racism, sexism, pedophilia, homophobia, political corruption, extreme poverty, drug abuse, animal abuse, murder, theft, and rape. Creepy men, do not approach me. I am always safe in my DR. My home is always safe and free from harm. I have high pain tolerance / immune to extreme physical pain in my DR. The emotional and physical pain I feel in my DR doesn't affect my clone. I'm immune to chronic diseases and lethal / fatal diseases. Everyone in my DR will remain safe and healthy when I am in my OR. Everyone in my DR that I care about is immune to dying, getting badly injured, or getting any fatal / lethal diseases.
A lot of the shifters I found on Amino were also insecure about their ability to shift. Whenever they saw videos denouncing shifting or saying shifting wasn't possible, they'd talk about experiencing doubts about whether or not they could shift. Then other people would encourage them with, "No, you can shift. It's possible. There are people who have shifted before."
Reasons shifting is real. Just because you haven't been somewhere doesn't mean it doesn't exist. If we can exist on a tiny floating rock, we can exist elsewhere. There are CIA files providing evidence of shifting. Feelings of numbness, floating, or falling are not normal if you were simply lying down. It's just physics. Reasons shifting is easy. You literally already exist there. You're already home. You have always had the ability to shift. All you need is the intent to shift.
I think there's certainly a factor of vulnerability here, as well as a desire to be special and be able to reach the world of your dreams. But is reality shifting, well, reality? Let's find out. Many reality shifting believers cite this released CIA document called Analysis and Assessment of Gateway Process as proof that shifting is a real phenomenon. So, I read all 29 pages of it. I have thoughts.
The first page of the study itself gives me the feeling that this research study, quote unquote, is more about altered states of consciousness rather than shifting to other dimensions.
In order to describe the Monroe Institute technique for achieving altered states of consciousness, the gateway experience, involving brain hemisphere synchronization, or hemisync, the most effective way to begin is to briefly profile the basic mechanics which underlay operation of related methods such as hypnosis, transcendental meditation, and biofeedback. It is easiest to effectively describe what gateway is by beginning with a short description of those associated techniques that share some common aspects with the gateway experience, but which are nevertheless different. In this way, we can develop a frame of reference at the outset which will provide useful concepts to explain and understand gateway by comparison as we proceed.
In fact, aspects of it sounded more like intense meditation techniques instead.
The third consciousness-altering methodology, which will be briefly described, is biofeedback. Biofeedback is somewhat unique in that it actually employs the self-cognitive powers of the left hemisphere to gain access to such areas of the right brain as the lower cerebral, motor, and sensory cortices, and assorted pain or pleasure centers. Instead of suppressing the left hemisphere, as is done in hypnosis, or largely bypassing and ignoring it, as is done in transcendental meditation, Biofeedback teaches the left hemisphere first to visualize the desired result and then to recognize the feelings associated with the experience of successful right hemisphere access to the specific lower cerebral, cortex, pain, or pleasure, or other areas in the manner needed to produce the desired result. Special self-monitoring devices such as the digital thermometer are used to inform the left brain when it succeeds in keying the right hemisphere into accessing the appropriate area. Once this is done, the left brain can then repeatedly instruct the right brain to re-establish the pathways involved so as to produce the same external objective measure of success. In this way, the pathways are strengthened and emphasized to such an extent that left brain consciousness is enabled to access appropriate areas in the right brain using a conscious demand mode. For example, if the subject wishes to increase the circulation in the left leg in order to speed up healing, he may concentrate with his left brain on achieving that result while carefully monitoring a digital thermometer connected to his left leg. When the concentrated effort begins to achieve success, the digital thermometer will register an increase in the temperature of the left leg. At that point, the subject can mentally, left brain, associate the sensations experienced with the result achieved and can begin to emphasize, by memory recall, the same process to cause its strengthening by affirmation and repetition. In this way, pain can be blocked, healing can be enhanced, malignant tumors can apparently be suppressed and ultimately destroyed, the body's pleasure centers can be stimulated, and a variety of specific physiological results may be achieved. In addition, biofeedback may be used to greatly accelerate achievement of deep meditative states, particularly for beginners.
A few pages in, the researcher mentions that through this gateway method, someone can have an out-of-body experience that they have control over.
As the body is turned into a coherent oscillator, vibrating in harmony with the surrounding electrostatic medium, the specific exercises included in the gateway tapes enjoin the participant to build up the energy field surrounding his body, presumably by using energy from the Earth's field, which the body is now entraining because of its ability to resonate with it. This puts the body's energy field into homogeny with its surrounding environment and promotes movement of the seat of consciousness into the surrounding environment, partly in response to the fact that the two electromagnetic medians are now a single energy continuum. Thus, the same process which moves the brain into focused coherence at steadily higher levels of frequency and amplitude so as to entrain analogous frequencies in the universe for data collection, also promotes enhancement of bodily energy levels to a point adequate to permit the subject to experience an out-of-body movement when he is ready to do so. More will be said about this topic later. In addition, by resonating with the Earth's electromagnetic sphere, the human body creates a surprisingly powerful carrier wave to assist the mind in communication activity with other human minds similarly tuned.
Then, on page 11, shit gets weird, to say the least.
Up to this point, our discussion of the gateway process has been relatively simple and easy to follow. Now the fun begins. Gateway involves more than just perception of those aspects of the universal hologram which can be accessed in the dimension of time-space as we know it. To explain how and why human consciousness can be brought to transcend the limitations of time-space is the next task which must be addressed. To do this, we must first appreciate what time and space are in order to understand how the dimension that they constitute can be transcended. Physicists define time as a measurement of energy or force in motion. In other words, it is a measurement of change. However, in order for energy to be in motion, it must first be limited in some way within the confines of some sort of vibratory pattern, so that its confinement gives it the capacity for being contained at a specific location which is distinguishable from other locations, space. Energy which is not confined is force without limit, without dimension, without the limits of form. It is infinity, cannot move because there is nothing beyond infinity, and is therefore outside of the dimension of time. It is also beyond space because that concept implies that a specific energy form is limited to a specific location and is absent from other locations. But if energy is the state of infinity, there are no boundaries, no here to differentiate from there, no sense of area. Energy in infinity means energy uniformly, extended without limit. It has no beginning, no end, no location. It is conscious force, the fundamental primal power of existence without form, a state of infinite being. Energy in infinity is said to be completely at rest and therefore cannot generate holograms so long as it remains utterly inactive. It retains its inherent capacity for consciousness, and that it can receive and passively perceive holograms generated by energy and motion out in the various dimensions which make up the created universe, but it cannot be perceived by consciousness operating in the active universe. Energy in this state of inactive infinity is termed by physicists as energy in its absolute state, or simply the absolute. Between the absolute and the material universe in which we experience our physical existence are various intervening dimensions to which human consciousness in altered states of being may gain access. Theoretically, human consciousness may continue to expand the horizons of its perceptual capability until it reaches the dimension of the absolute, at which point perception stops because the absolute generates no holograms of or about itself.
At this point, we get into the weird reality-shifting bollocks. And it's just... what? At this point, I researched some supplementary resources about the report. Most of what I've found didn't interpret this project as proof of reality shifting, but instead as a potential way to have out-of-body experiences that could be researched further to take advantage of to the fullest.
The CIA technique dubbed the Gateway Experience was essentially described as a training system to bring enhanced strength, focus, and coherence to the amplitude and frequency of brainwave output between left and right hemispheres that would alter the consciousness, pushing it outside the physical space, escaping restrictions of time and space. Basically, it was seen as a way to put minds in a different state of consciousness, controlling our brain with the motive of interacting with non-physical aspects of reality. Its uses, according to the CIA report, ranged from converting energy to heal one's body to traveling across space and time to learn and access new information.
With that, Wayne takes a first stab at the gateway process. He classifies it as a training system designed to bring enhanced strength, focus, and coherence to the amplitude and frequency of brainwave output between the left and right hemispheres, so as to alter consciousness. What distinguishes the gateway process from hypnosis, transcendental meditation, and biofeedback is that it requires achieving a state of consciousness in which the electrical brain patterns of both hemispheres are equal in amplitude and frequency. This is called hemisync. Lamentably, and perhaps conveniently, we cannot as humans achieve this state on our own. The audio techniques developed by Bob Monroe and his institute, which comprise a series of tapes, claim to induce and sustain hemisync.
But what makes this evidence for reality shifting? The out-of-body experience and the ability to control a heightened level of consciousness both play into its core beliefs. Remember, reality shifting itself stems from an altered state of consciousness. For this section, let's assume that nobody in the shifting community is lying about their experiences. Lying is explicitly forbidden in shifting communities, though how they enforce that, I don't know. So let's imagine every shifting story is genuine. So what are they actually experiencing?
In some cases, it could be lucid dreaming, or when you're aware that you're dreaming and have at least some degree of control over your dreams, or, you know, the thing the author of My Inner Life claimed to experience. Author's notes. Hello, thanks for choosing to read my story. As you might know, I have become a major Zelda fan in the past year. Ever since I played Ocarina of Time, I have grown a fond interest in Link. I started to notice that after I got really into it, I found that I have a strange gift, a gift to lucid dream. I started having dreams about Hyrule and about Link. In a lucid dream, you can control your dreams. The dreams become very real, kinda like a second life, and almost every night I would have another, starting from where the last left off. Even to this day, I still have them. I find that they help me get through life. I know this may sound queer, but for me, the dreams sure help me out. I have shared this story with many other people, and so far all has liked it. Now as you read this, it is told from my perspective or first-person view.
Furthermore, as the Odd Ones Out stated, adding things into your subconscious before you fall asleep can influence your dreams. I've dreamt of checking my test scores before final season, being with people I've crushed on, even beating up someone for telling the public some very private information without my permission. And all three had to do with things seeped in my subconscious, things my mind processed while dreaming. If you, say, repeatedly assured yourself you'd shift somewhere before bed, wouldn't that happen eventually? But shifters say their experiences are much more real than lucid dreaming. They could see themselves clearly, know exactly what was going on, and control the world around them. So, if it's not lucid dreaming, what is it? Laura Rouser-Kreselmeyer has an idea for that too. Self-hypnosis. She has stated that
It seems to be maybe a form of self-hypnosis. Altered states of consciousness have been around as far back as we know, with some claiming to have mystical experiences and others taking some sort of substances or drug to change their consciousness.
therapist Grace Warwick, however, believes it's actually kind of a transliminal experience, or a lifelike experience one can have while awake and in a super calm state.
Transliminal experiences occur when awakened are most common when the mind is in a soothed state, for example, upon waking and before falling asleep. The instructions for shifting on social media include being half asleep as a start point. They then introduce repetitive music or counting backwards slowly. All these factors would induce a state conducive to a transliminal experience. An interesting aspect of the techniques is the central part that a prepared script plays. I would liken the role of the script to creating a guided meditation or working with active imagination.
But do people actually shift dimensions and live in different realities? Probably not. Here's why. There is a lot in the reality shifting community that is left unexplained. A lot of my initial questions were similar to the Odd Ones Outs, including, but not limited to, does your DR self have its own consciousness? What happens to it after you shift? What if multiple versions of you went to shift to the same DR? Is the DR a different reality for each version of you? Time freezes in your desired reality once you return to your CR, but wouldn't all normal realities have a consistent measure of space and time? But those are just general inconsistencies in shifting. What about those within the shifting community? Amino are the biggest sources of information on reality shifting, and they hate each other. Why? Really is.
This misinformation is kinda new and I've been seeing it quite frequently. That's why I avoid shit talk at all costs, and you should do as well. The misinfo is that you have to specify in your script with name and surname who your SO is, because if you just put Todoroki, for example, MHA spoiler, you may end up with Dabi or Endeavor instead of Shoto. That is not true at all! Your subconscious will know that you want to be with Shoto Todoroki, MHA spoiler, not Dabi or Endeavor, so you will shift to a reality where you are with Shoto! Please remember that you don't have to be so specific in your script. In fact, you don't even need one as long as you know what you want, and trust me, you do. Maybe not your conscious mind, but your subconscious absolutely does and remembers everything, so don't worry, it's fine. Stop searching for info on TikTok because it's not a source that you can trust at all. It is full of mistakes and misinformation and fake experiences. Content warning, swearing and cussing. BC, I'm mad at Shift Talk for being dumb and spreading false info. You can script anything you want, bruh. It's your script. There was never ever any rule that you cannot script negatives. There is no good or bad connotations. It's all what's been made up. The way you write your script does not affect your reality, Lamau now. Write whatever to if you want, however to if you wanted.
I actually found shifting on TikTok. A couple pages were recommending baby shifters to join Shifting Amino, so that's what I did. Since then, I've realized that there's a whole bunch of misinformation on TikTok. Yes, there are people who know what they're talking about, but a lot of shifting pages just aren't reliable. I get all of my information from amino communities, which have lots of people who've read the CIA documents and other scientific resources.
And it's like, if TikTok spreads misinformation, then how do I know amino is trustworthy? Even within TikTok, information on reality shifting is inconsistent. Don't make people in your DR fall in love with you. That's unethical. You can make people in your DR fall in love with you. That's perfectly fine. You can get stuck in your DR. You can not get stuck in your DR. Be careful, shifting can be dangerous. Don't worry, shifting is always safe. There's so much back and forth between different aspects of shifting, I don't even know all the specifics. Hell, chances are that people have already left comments under this video saying that my description of shifting is wrong. But can someone even point me to a consistent, agreed upon definition? Chances also are that there's probably some post on Amino now since I'm making this video against reality shifting. Hi. But my problems with the practice are deeper than the inconsistencies. When I was a tween, I thought you could travel between different dimensions, and I so badly wanted to shift to another world. At the time, I was bullied a lot, and I had few, if any, friends. And even then, a lot of the friends I had only let me hang out with them out of pity. So I had little connection to reality in the first place, and I tried to find a way to shift to my quote-unquote desired reality of Duck Dodgers forever. I've talked about this on YouTube before, but in case you haven't seen it, ultimately, I found an anchor back to reality, and I no longer believe in that bullshit. But if I discovered shifting at 11 or 12, that would have severed my touch with reality forever. There's a method for permanently shifting to your desired reality. It's called respawning, and it's just as fucked up as you think.
By definition, the act of respawning is to reappear after having been killed. There are so many definitions of respawn in this reality-shifting community, but as a general definition, respawn is the act of severing your connection with this reality. Some people consider respawn to be forced reincarnation. Reincarnation, by definition, is the philosophical or religious belief that the non-physical essence of a living being starts a new life in a different physical form or body after biological death. While it is actually possible to respawn in a short amount of time, and you can choose when you respawn is not something to be taken lightly. Therefore, you should do your own research and even talk to other respawners to make your respawn journey a pleasant one. There are so many reasons why a person would choose to respawn instead of shifting, such as they want a fresh start. They want to forget or move on from the pain in this reality. They want to experience something they didn't have in their old reality. They want to discard their old identity and adopt a new one that they are comfortable with. They want to discard their old body and adopt a new one that they are comfortable with. They view it as a spiritual or religious practice, which means a lot to them, and more reasons, which are not anyone else's business but the respawner.
Now, bear with me. There are many ways to respawn, and not all of these ways involve death. Some people choose to shift, then their physical body dies afterwards. Shift, then their physical body goes through clinical death and leave a clone/stand-in. Shift permanently and wipe all memories of this reality. Astral project and cut the cord connecting them to this body/timeline, then establish a new cord with a new body/timeline.
There are people out there who think they can permanently shift to their desired reality to live a better life, and no one sees this as a toxic mindset? There are people out there who think they can permanently shift to their desired reality to live a better life, and no one sees this as a toxic mindset? People will tell you that no, it is absolutely not suicide, and that claiming it is wrong and spreads misinformation. But then why does respawning involve permanently removing yourself from your current reality? What doesn't help is that the way respawning can be described is quite triggering.
Is respawning the same as suicide? Alright, fine. I'll admit that whoever says this is partially correct. There are some respawners out there that will actually do it. But I assure you, it's less common than you think. There are more options you can choose from while respawning. When someone is respawning, they are actually instructed not to kill themselves, or it ruins the whole thing. We don't, and we shouldn't force anyone to respawn. It's someone's personal choice, but if you guys are going to do it for the right reasons, not because you can't wait to have your way with Damon Salvatore or something. I'm not going to tell you why you should respawn or not. This post is for clearing some misconceptions, not a should I respawn tarot reading. Not all respawners choose to kill their clone. I bet TikTok didn't tell you guys that respawners can actually leave behind a clone, or even that respawners can erase themselves from this reality as if they never existed to soften the blow on their loved ones here. How is this possible? Well, you can shift to a reality where you respawn and keep your physical body safe here. Keep in mind that everything depends on your scripts. Everything that you script will take place. So please be careful with what you write.
Why am I respawning? I just got tired of all of it. I realized that I was never actually going to be happy in this reality. My happy ending was nowhere to be found. It was either sacrifice my happiness for others or sacrifice the happiness of others for my own, which would have led to hatred by my own family, the people I grew up with. They would hate me forever and never speak to me again, and I just couldn't handle that. It was a dilemma. There was no escape until I discovered respawning. If I shifted, I would just be leaving behind a clone to continue living in misery. Of course, I could script that my clone makes others happy, but that's taken away their free will. I could never do that to anyone. We should all be free to make our own choices.
This, to me, seems like an unhealthy escapist fantasy to cope with whatever is going on in your life. And escapism, to say the very least, is not healthy. Sure, life sucks, our world sucks, but you can work on making your current reality your desired reality. What doesn't help my concerns is the pariah aspect of the community, where those who criticize them are ostracized by those within it.
I just wanted to advise you guys to not watch the Odd Ones Outs video titled My Thoughts on Reality Shifting. As a shifter, it was very hurtful and unmotivated me to shift. It really brought me down. I'm sorry that it took so long for me to say something. I was super nervous to watch the video because I've seen so many people saying negative things about it. I can't force you to do anything, but I highly request for you to not watch the video. This is just my opinion, but I truly think he made that video to make shifters feel bad, put them down, and to send his followers to harass shifters. Please just be careful. I care about y'all.
It turns away those who speak out against the practice, forming an us versus them mentality that can lead to an echo chamber. And echo chambers aren't a healthy way to digest media. And the people drawn to shifting are young and impressionable. Just the idea of kids gaining an interest in traveling to different realities, especially in this way, leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Again, when I was a tween, I had similar beliefs. Were I to discover respawning at that age, I probably would be dead by now. Trying to shift dimensions just to get to the one you want to isn't healthy. Please take it from me. There's not much else I need to say about reality shifting. It's a heavily flawed pseudoscience based on a misinterpreted CIA report from almost 40 years ago that can lead to toxic mindsets. So, is shifting dangerous? In a physical sense, no. You'll be fine. But in a mental and emotional sense, shifting just seems damaging to your psyche. And I'm glad I escaped that mindset many years ago. But for now, I shall leave. Tune in next month when I do something. I don't know. Wait a minute. What the fuck? Surprise, bitches! I moved! Forgive me for having to go all Ginny Nicholson right now, but my new set isn't ready yet. So until then, I'll be recording from here. Woo! See y'all next time.